Good afternoon, baseball fans. It is Monday, just kidding, February 5th. February, we have moved on to another month. We get to see baseball. We get to see baseball this month. MLB baseball. Woohoo! Very excited,
Man,
very
there's something
excited.
about February that just hits differently. I'm so glad.
Oh, I'm so excited. Apparently, I'm so excited that I didn't even know that it was February. Anyways, February 5th, guys. This is season 2, episode 57 or 58, I think, of Bourbon and Baseball, All the Balls edition. I am Suzy. That is Kelsey. It's Bourbon and Baseball, like I said, but we don't have any. We don't have any bourbon because it is in the afternoon and we have many things to do
Just
after
hot
this.
tea and hot takes.
Kelsey has hot tea and hot takes. I have some water. And away we go. We're going to hit it hard, hit it fast. That's what she said. And we're going to get it right into this. A disclaimer before we get into it, though. This is a rated R podcast for all of the adult content, not the paid kind, unfortunately. Just the all of the language, all of the four-letter words and inappropriate adult humor that you will most likely hear out of me. So if F-bombs are not your thing, this is probably not the podcast for you. But, I'm sure you can get any sort of baseball talk elsewhere without the expletives. But here you will find all of the expletives because that's just how I roll as a person. Anyhow, with that, away we go. Kelsey, we've got lots of things to cover today. So we're just going to start right off with our 40-man find. Would you like to start that off with explaining what that is and who your guy
Yes.
is?
So there are 40 men on each of the 30 Major League Baseball team rosters, and we have made it our mission to tell you about one that you might not hear about otherwise, or you might not know a lot about otherwise, especially if you're not following the team. For each of the 30 teams, we have started with the teams with the worst records. We're working our way up to the teams with the best records. We're right about in the middle right now. We're going to tell you about the Minnesota Twins and the Cubs today. I am covering the American League teams. Suzy has got the National League teams so that we can get to know a little bit more about players that we might not be as familiar with, considering our fandoms lie in the opposite leagues. So we have made it to the Minnesota Twins for me today, and I'm going to tell you about one of the newest Minnesota Twins, and that is Leslie Arnold Thompson, or as you might know him, Bubba Thompson. He was born on June 9th of 1998, and he attended McGill-Tulane Catholic High School in Mobile, Alabama.
Oh, okay.
He actually played baseball and football in high school and was very good at both. Actually, during his senior year in football, he led his team to the Class 7A state title game, and he passed for, I don't know if this is good, maybe you can tell me, Suzy, maybe one of our listeners can tell me, but he passed for 3,173 yards and 38 touchdowns. I'm being legit when I ask, is that good? Because I have absolutely no concept, but it must be because it was notable in the news. So
I think it is good. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say 3,000 yards is a lot. It's a lot. Where's Tom
And
when you need him?
he actually was right. Tom, are you there? Let us know.
Jeez.
Drop a comment. But he actually was teammates in high school with a future NFL wide receiver, Jalen Tolbert. I don't, again, not familiar. But
We're not football girlies here. So listeners, if you two peoples, drop them in the comments. Like, is that good? What's your normal average? We don't know these things.
I'm just establishing his credibility as an elite athlete overall here for you.
This is true.
He was considered one of the top prospects for the 2017 Major League Baseball draft, and he was drafted by the Texas Rangers with the 26th overall pick in the first round of the draft. So he officially signed with the Rangers a few days after the draft, and he spent the whole season with the AZL Rangers. Not sure where they're at, but that must be like their rookie league. So he spent the whole season there, batted .257 in 113 at-bats with 3 home runs and 12 RBIs in 30 games. And then one of the best things about learning about Bubba Thompson today is he's played for a lot of fun minor league teams. So he spent 2018 with the Hickory Crawdads, which is the single A team for the Rangers, /289, 344, 446 in 332 at-bats. He's got 8 home runs there, 42 RBIs, and 32 stolen bases in 39 attempts. And that is something you're going to notice here. A constant with Bubba Thompson is he is fast.
fast.
He's
Yes.
running through the minor leagues. So he was actually ranked number 48 overall in baseball by baseball prospects, which is something that's a big point of conversation right now since all of that is coming out. So that was preseason of 2019. He was number 48 on that top 100 list. And then he was ranked 108 overall prospect by Fangraphs prior to 2019 as well. Now he's going to go to high A with the Down East Wood Ducks in 2019. He does spend some time on the injured list, but he ends up coming back, still gets to play a little bit, not slashing quite as well. 178, 261, 312 in 202 at-bats. But he still had 5 home runs, 21 RBIs, and 12 steals in 15 attempts. Still running. He does play for the Arizona Fall League this season for the Surprise Cigarros.
Oh,
And he was
saguaros.
actually named Cigarros. What's a saguaro?
Yeah.
Do you know?
It's a cactus. It's a type of cactus. That I do know.
Oh, I see their logo now.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. That's a cute little
Don't mind me.
cactus in a cowboy
Yes.
hat. But he was actually named a Fall League All-Star. So
Oh,
pretty
okay.
cool. He is one of these guys who I feel like we've talked about a lot in our 40-man find segment, who was maybe set back a little bit by the cancellation of the 2020 minor league baseball season due to obviously the pandemic.
Yes.
But he spent so he didn't play, in 2020. And you think about just with something that is so time specific, like there's a very small window of time for all of these guys, and it's so like circumstantial, and the timing is really such a big part of it that we all have things in 2020 that we're like sitting back. And I mean, I got married in 2020, for God's sake. I had 6 people at my wedding. I was supposed to have 200. But for these guys, like career wise, it's just got to be so hard to be like,
right,
what happened? And we can't think about what if. But regardless, Thompson spent the 2021 season with the Frisco Rough Riders in Double-A. And he's back hitting 275, 325, 483, and 429 at bats. He's got that pop with 16 home runs, 52 RBIs, and 25 stolen bases in 33 attempts. This year in 2021, he is named the co-winner of the Rangers True Ranger Award, which I'm guessing is probably their like minor league award, minor league player of the year type of award.
Oh, okay.
He's coming on up to AAA in the 2022 season with the Round Rock Express. Man, these Texas minor league teams have all the best names. The Astros have really good ones too. In AAA, he slashes 304, 355, 474 in 346 at-bats, 13 home runs, 48 RBIs, and 49 stolen bases in 52 attempts over just 80 games. So he's stealing a base in over half of the games that he's playing.
That's a lot.
Sick. So on August 4th of 2022, Texas selects Thompson's contract and promotes him to the active roster to make his major league debut versus the Chicago White Sox. His first career hit is a bunt single off of Johnny Cueto. We love to see it. His first home run
single,
however,
and then did he steal second after he got to first?
Oh, that's a good question. I sure as hell hope so. I mean, with somebody like Bubba Thompson, that's exactly what you want to see. Get on base and then make some magic happen. But I think this is like a constant that I keep picking guys who have their first home run or their first hit off of Astros. So I'm sorry, but
no, you're not. I think you're doing it. I think you're doing it kind of on purpose, but not really. Like
it's
maybe
just like
subliminally, subconsciously. There we go. Subconsciously. That's the sub word I'm looking for.
But Bubba Thompson had his first home run. It was a solo shot off of Framber Valdez of the Houston Astros in 2022.
Yeah.
He made himself known. He made his presence known. He definitely held his own in the 2022 season with the Rangers, slashing 265, 302, 312 in 170 at-bats, 18 steals and 21 attempts. And he had an 85.71% stolen base percentage, which was the 8th best in the American League.
Ooh, okay.
And he played primarily left field. He can play all of the outfield positions. He actually seems to look pretty good in center field to me too. So that's always a plus with somebody like Bubba Thompson, who you are kind of want to plug and play with. He had the second fastest sprint speed of all major league batters in 2022 at 30.4 feet per second.
I think that's fast. I think that's fast.
Got to be real fast. I wonder who had the
Mhm.
first. Now I'm curious.
I think it was between like Bobby Witt Jr. and there's someone else, and I'm blanking. And listeners, if you know, please roast us in the comments because we should know these things. But
who was? I mean, this was in 2022. Yeah. Like, who was the fastest in 2022? It easily could have been Bobby Witt. We're going to talk some more about him later, so maybe we'll find out before then. But in 37 games last season for the Rangers, he batted just 170, 237, 283 with 4 RBIs and 4 stolen bases. So he didn't play much, but he was ultimately designated for assignment on August 11th of 2023, following the promotion of JP Martinez for the Rangers. And here goes Bubba Thompson on the carousel. So he's claimed off waivers in August of 2023 by the Kansas City Royals. He plays 33 games for the AAA Omaha Storm Chasers, where he hits 259, 313, 410 with 4 home runs, 17 RBIs, and 11 stolen bases. Here's the thing. I know his numbers aren't like super thrilling by any means, but he's very consistent and he's still very young and he's super fast. He's got some on-base skills. He hits the ball hard. So I do think that like he's someone that we just haven't seen full potential from. And if he gets the right opportunity, he could be a guy that you're seeing consistently on a major league roster. On October,
guess who was the fastest? Sorry, side note. Guess who was the fastest? Elly De La Cruz.
Oh, duh. Wait,
duh. Like we should.
Was that in 2023?
Oh, in 2022. Sorry.
Yeah,
I thought we were in 2022. Would have been around.
That would have been, yeah, Elly obviously in 23. I don't know about 2022. But
no, that was 2022. I'll give you 2023. We'll do that in just 2 seconds.
In October of 2023, Bubba Thompson was claimed off waivers by the Reds. So maybe he's going to be a Cincinnati Red. Just kidding, because just after Christmas, he's designated for assignment by the Reds. The New York Yankees pick him up by January 4th. They hang on to him for 2 weeks at most, gets DFA'd by the Yankees on January 19th, and now he is a Minnesota Twin as of January 24th. And considering that they have Buxton out there in the outfield, and I mean, they're kind of piecing things together while trying to cut payroll, I think this is a guy that you could see play for the Twins more often than maybe some other teams that he could have ended up with. And that's why I wanted to, mention him today on our 40-man find.
Guess who the fastest player in 2023 is?
I have no idea.
Gonna guess? Still Elly De La Cruz.
Wait, did he play in 22?
Yes, because that was.
Did he?
That's apparently, according to StatCast, sprint speed. When I Googled fastest player in 2022 in MLB, that's what it gave me in 22.
Okay, but he didn't play in 2022.
I don't know. That's what it gave me. Anyways,
anyway, Bubba Thompson up there with Elly De La Cruz. That's a good comparison because if you're, what we might call a casual baseball fan, you can be a fan however you want. I'm not holding that against you, not looking down on you, but you might know about Elly De La Cruz. Bubba Thompson would be comparable to Elly De La Cruz in terms of sprint speed, and that's something to watch for.
Yeah,
don't blink.
Shortstop for the Cincinnati Reds, in case you were not aware. Okay, so I put in 2022 start year, 2022 end year, 2022. There we go. Now it still is. Well, it's Corbin Carroll. Just kidding. In 2022, it's Corbin Carroll, then Bubba Thompson, then Bobby Witt Jr. Oh, and then Jose Siri. Look at you, Jose Siri. Anyways, so
we had the right guys.
Apparently it was. I didn't filter correctly, and that's just a euphemism for my life, apparently. So,
well, that's a good thing to bring everyone's attention to in this day and age that we are living in, and the internet. It's really easy to search for something and be like, I found the answer, and anyone can put shit on the internet. Just
make sure that you got your filters correctly, guys. Make sure you got your filters correctly. So
we have to talk about the Chicago Cubs because we can't skip them. Who'd you pick to feature today on the Cubs.
I know you're thrilled. I know you're thrilled with this, Kels. I know you are. It's okay. You can pretend to be thrilled. Just a little. Just a little.
I do like who you picked, so I'm not
Yeah.
too mad about it. Not too butthurt.
Well, so we have to pander to the peoples because that's how we do on this show, and we are still trending on the Apple podcast charts for Spain, for Korea, and for Japan. So
Whoa.
I was like, well, guess what? You know what? Guess who we're gonna pick for the Chicago Cubs? But I did have a moment of weakness, and I was going to pick somebody else because literally every time I say his name, I have to giggle, and I couldn't. I had to be an adult. So, Miles Mastrobuoni, you get
Nope,
a
nope.
pass because every single time Miles Mastrobuoni comes up to bat, I just giggle like a fucking schoolgirl, and all of the just dirty jokes just run through my head.
Even I was not above making that joke the first time that I saw him out there for the Cubs.
Yeah. I was like, stop it. And then I was like, I was like, do I pick either one of the hot twin guys? Like, because literally Ian Happ and Patrick Wisdom look exactly the same to me.
They do look very similar. I think
Yeah.
Patrick
I was
Wisdom
like,
is better looking, but
both very hot. And I can say that and be like, hey, how are you doing? Because they're more my age than many of the other
that's
baseball
true.
players
You
that we have
couldn't be
talked
their
about.
mother,
So
that's for sure. So
yes, they can be on that Diamond Daddies calendar that we're putting together, Kels. So
there you go.
Yeah. So my guy is Seiya Suzuki for the Chicago Cubs, and he is a 29-year-old outfielder for the Cubs that came over from the MPB. He was born August 18th, 1994, and he is currently married to, let's see if I can't not fuck this up, Ari Hatakeyama. There we go. They got married in 2019 and they have a beautiful baby. I think girl. I have not confirmed that because I keep just seeing child in September of 2022.
He's a
So if you
Leo. He's got Leo energy. I love that.
okay, does he? All right.
Oh yeah.
So if you know if it's a girl or a boy, please let me know because in all of my Googling, I tried to find out. And from the pictures, it kind of looked like a boy, but then I thought I saw an article that said daughter, and now I can't find it anymore. So now I don't know. And now I'm going to just say child. Anyhow,
Cute
but
kid.
he had that dad energy. And in one of the articles that I read, he said that he came back from paternity leave with a blonde streak in his hair. And he joked that it was from the stress of not being able to sleep from the baby. And if you have a kid,
Aw.
you know. So anyhow, he came over from the NPB from the Hiroshima, Toyo Carp. And he was a 5-time All-Star and a 6-time NPB Best 9 award. And I wasn't aware what this was. So I'm going to read you what this is.
Mm.
This is the best player at each position in both leagues determined by a pool of journalists. So I was like, oh, so it's an all-star, but apparently it is not. It is a different award. And then he was a 5-time NPB Golden Glove Award winner, and that is awarded to 9 fielders based on votes by TV, radio, and newspaper journalists with over 5 years experience covering the NPB. So if you were just like a brand new baby reporter, you don't get to pick. No, your vote doesn't count. 5 years. So he was drafted in 2012 in the second round, and he mainly was a pitcher in high school. He was drafted as a pitcher.
Ooh, interesting.
Got that fastball up there at 92. I was like, all right, look at you. Unfortunately, though, he's to an infielder in 2015. And in 2015, he made the opening day starting lineup. And in 97 games, he hit 5 home runs, and his slash line was 275, 329, and 403. And if you are a newer fan and you don't know what a slash line is, that first number is batting average. That middle number is on base percentage, and that last number is slug. So basically, a really, really good player, you're hitting 300, 400, 500 as a reference point. So in 97 games, he hit 275, 329, 403, which makes him a very good player, just not a very, very good player. In 2016, he made his first All-Star appearance, and he led that team with a 355 batting average with 26 home runs and a 1.0 .016 OPS, which is
Okay, so
on base percentage plus slug. So basically anything over a 1 dot, you're very, very, very good. And helped lead the Toyo Carps to their first pennant in 5 years. 25 years, excuse me. My thumb was covering the 2 on my paper. So in 25 years. Yes.
That's what everybody.
In 2017, he received the most votes among Center League outfielders, and made his second consecutive All-Star appearance. In August 23rd, he left with an ankle injury, unfortunately, and then 6 days later, he was shut down for the season with a, let's see if I can read my own handwriting, a malleolar fracture on his right tibia and a deltoid ligament injury.
Ooh, yeesh.
Yeah, I don't. Where's your deltoid? What's a deltoid?
Shoulder.
Shoulder? Okay.
Well,
Oh.
it
So
doesn't say like what part of the delt. Just
just as a deltoid ligament injury and a fracture on his right tibia. So his leg and his shoulder was jacked. Golly. Yeah. But he ended that season with a 300. His slash line was 300, 389, and 547 with 26 home runs with 90 RBIs, 16 stolen bases, and he led the Central League with a 936 OPS. So just under very, very, very good. And in 2018, third consecutive All-Star. Look at you, Seiya. And then I'm gonna read the rest of this from my phone because there's just way, way too much to actually write down because I'm lazy. You guys all know this, right?
I'm impressed. Like you write out anything.
Well, mainly because I cannot, because there's just like too much to read. Like if I don't,
you're just to like pick and choose.
If I were just to look at it, yeah. But in 2018, he was named for his third All-Star appearance, and he hit his first home run off of Yusei Kikuchi. He finished that season batting .320, .438, .618 with 30 home runs and 94 RBIs. And the Carp won their third consecutive Central League pennant. And then he went on to face the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks and unfortunately lost. But he hit, this is what I need you guys to understand. He hit 10 for 22 with 3 home runs and 6 RBIs during the Japanese series. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Look at you, Seiya. In 2019, he won the 2019 NPB Home Run Derby, defeating Oryx Buffalo's outfielder Masataka Yoshida 4-3 in the final round. Yep. And in that season, he appeared in a career high 140 games, leading the NPB in batting average, 335, on base percentage of 453, OPS 1.018 with 112 runs scored, which is the first in the Central League, 28 home runs, ranked 9th, 87 RBIs, ranked 9th, and 25 stolen bases, ranked 4th. Wow. After that season, he was awarded his 4th consecutive Best 9 award and his 3rd Gold Glove. We're just going to skip the 2020 season because that doesn't even count anymore. In 2021, he played 132 games for the Carp. For the Carps? Anyway, setting a career high home runs with 38 to go along with 88 RBIs. His slash line was 317, 433, 636. Now, mind you, Seiya is SML. He is like 5'11". Yeah. So the fact that he is slugging,
such a stud, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, all right, look at you, Seiya. He was the Central League batting champion and on-base percentage leader, and was named an NPB All-Star for the 5th time in his career. I was like, okay, Seiya. So following that 2021 season, he was posted, and if you're posted by the NPB, you get a 30-day posting window. Unfortunately, the lockout happened, so he was not able to sign until March. March 18th of 2022.
Oh, so weird. Okay, yeah. So basically, like the window didn't close. They just like
they basically
poked it and moved it. Oh my God. How weird.
And so it was postponed, and then on March 18th of 2022, Seiya officially agreed to a 5-year contract worth $85 million. And I found a little funny quote on here, and it cracked me up. Manager David Ross tricked me. Before I signed, he told me Chicago isn't that cold. Not much worse than Hiroshima. When I confronted him, he said it's because he really wanted me. So I realized I'm glad to be on a great team like the Cubs. I'm like,
That's
David
shady,
Ross,
Ross.
that's kinda mean, man, like, that's like and I obviously don't know the temperature of Hiroshima, but to lie to somebody and tell them that, like, Chicago is not cold, like, what are you doing over there?
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think there's a whole lot of places that are at least densely populated that
yeah,
are have worse winters than Chicago does. So, like, just be honest with him and, like, gift him, a parka and some hand warmers. Come on.
yeah, yeah. All of the layers, just all of the layers. He made his Cubs debut on April 7th, and he worked a full count walk against Corbin Burns in his first MLB plate appearance.
Ooh,
Yes.
not bad. What kind
He, um he was the first Cub to make their MLB debut as the opening day starter since, Kosuke Fukudome in 2008.
mm,
I'm pretty sure that I butchered that name, I apologize.
Fukudome is definitely
Um,
right.
yes, and he hit his first major league home run on April 10th, which was a 3-run shot off of none other than now Milwaukee ace, Freddie Peralta.
So the Brewers came to town and Seiya said,
Yes.
"I'm not waiting. I'm ready to go,
Nope, I
MLB."
got this. Yep.
Jeez.
Suzuki was awarded the NL Player of the Week for April 11th through the 17th, which was a span in which he batted 412. He went 7 for 17, 5 runs, 3 home runs, 5 RBI, and an OPS of 1.604.
His first 2 weeks in major leagues.
He was
That's
named
wild.
NL Rookie of the Month for April. And then, like he kind of fell off. Like people kind of, the book was out on him. He kind of figured it
Right.
out. Um, and then in 2023, like suffice it to say, Seiya was tired. Seiya was very, very tired, and but finally got benched. David Ross benched him. There was a little bit of not happiness there in Seiya's life, but afterwards, Seiya was said that he understood um why he got benched and was happy about it, and then was fine. And Um, let's see. Oh, here we go. Sorry. I had another stat up here. He is the Oh, where are you? Seiya is the first Japanese player in MLB history to hit a home run in 3 consecutive plate appearances, and that happened on May 17th in 2023. And apparently, they just like to tee off on Astros players because guess what? That that game, Astros technically won. I say technically as if that's a thing, but we did win
They
7
won
to 6.
where it counts.
7 to 6. Yeah. However, there was 13 hits on both sides.
Damn.
13. Yeah. I was like, "Oh, so basically all of these runs were scored via home run for the Chicago Cubs, and apparently Seiya Suzuki just has JP France's number because in the first inning, he hit a fly ball to deep left field. Then in the third inning, another fly ball to deep left field, which scored Ian Happ. And then in the, where are you? 7th inning, I think. 7th inning, yes. Hit another one. I was like, oh, all right. Okay, perfect. So all of the home runs for Seiya Suzuki off of JP France, or JP France, I feel bad.
Wow.
But fun side note there. I didn't realize that the wall out there is an actual brick wall. Like when I started
Oh,
watching
in Wrigley?
baseball.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I just saw like the ivy and
Mhm,
one of the guys like didn't, like crash into the wall to
mhm.
catch the ball, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And my husband's like, Why are you yelling? That's a
Yeah,
that's a brick wall right there."
they actually have, like, some baskets that are on the, like, outside of like, surround the outfield wall in the stadium, so the guys actually can't jump up and leap and hit it without at least hitting
Ah,
the basket, so it kind of
okay.
Yeah.
At least lets them know.
Good with
Yeah.
that. Mhm.
I was like, wait, why? It blew my mind. I was like, you can't fucking replace that shit with some like padding. Like, what are we doing?
It's just
And
too historic, Susie. It's
Mike
too
goes, it's Wrigley Field. No, absolutely not. I'm all right. I guess we don't care about player safety. That's fine. Whatever, Cubs.
it's
I was
history.
mad about it. I was mad.
People pay out
Yeah,
the ass in their apartments for that exposed brick, you know?
that's true. That is true. So Seiya did not have a great 2023 season, but after the benching, he got a lot better. In his last 15 games, he hit 3 home runs with 14 RBI, 6 walks. He had an average of 356, 415 OBP, and a 712 slug. So
Coming
got a
back.
lot better. And they're hoping that he can kind of help Shota
Yeah.
weather the storm and kind of ease him into, playing every day. Time zones are a bitch, guys. Like, I don't think you guys understand this cuz, Japanese players, they don't do time zones. It's just all one. And so time zones and playing every day is rough. So, that is Seiya Suzuki.
That was a good one because
Ta-da!
he's just another player that I definitely don't think we've seen the best of yet. And
Mm-mm.
as you were talking about all his stats from the MPB, like because of his performance, I mean, primarily in 23, and I mean, he wasn't as exciting, I think, in 22 as Cubs fans like wanted him to be, but
Mhm.
I mean, the potential is there, and
Yeah.
little adjustments again can go a long way. So I totally agree that he's somebody to worth keeping your eye on.
For sure, for sure. But, Kels, we had some hot stoving.
Yeah,
We got some good
I'm
news.
warming up. I am
Yeah,
warming up over here. Things are
mm,
happening.
we
And
got some good news.
yeah, the first big headline I think of the week had nothing to do with player signings, but instead that the Angelos family has agreed to sell the Baltimore Orioles, and baseball fans worldwide rejoiced. Not that we wish anything bad for the Angelos family, but they have not been super enthusiastic owners in terms of being invested in the success of their team, and maybe a little bit more invested in lining their pocketbooks. And that's fine. That's, their prerogative, but we're glad to see them moving on to the next phase of taking that money with them and letting somebody else spend some money on the Baltimore Orioles. And at least, Susie, you and I could be a little bit more excited about this because we're not in the same division as them. But look out, because an agreement is in place for the Angelos family to sell the Orioles to a group led by private equity billionaire David Rubenstein for $1.725 billion, which apparently was on the low end. Uh, you
Yeah,
know,
and that's billion with a B,
I
people,
guess
with a
the
B.
Marlins, I forget what year it was that the Marlins were sold, but it wasn't like that long ago, maybe 21. And they were sold for 1.2 billion. So when you think about it that way, it's like,
Mm,
oh, that does seem kind of low.
yeah.
But Rubenstein's ownership group also includes Michael Arrighetti, who's co-founder and CEO of Era's Management, Hall of Famer and Orioles legend Cal Ripken Jr. We love it. Mitchell Goldstein and Michael Smith, who are co-heads of the Era's credit group, and former Baltimore Mayor Kurt Schmoke, NBA Hall of Famer Grant Hill, entrepreneur and philanthropist Mike Bloomberg, business leader Michael Kang, and other investors. So he's got a whole team of a good variety of people behind him. And this was a little confusing when it first came out because it seemed like the Angelos family was still going to be in control of the team until Peter Angelos, who is 94, who has been incapacitated for some time, like he has not been the control person of the team for some time, but it was his wish that the team be sold instead of being left in control of his sons who are currently running it, primarily his son John Angelos. But yeah, he wanted the team sold for someone else to be in control, but part of it for tax reasons, so that again the Angelos family can walk away with the most amount of money from the deal, is that Rubenstein will initially own 40% of the club until the passing of Peter Angelos, and that kind of made it seem like, okay, wait, so are we we're like all awkwardly waiting for Peter Angelos to pass on, which is obviously not something that anyone wants to wish for, but we do want, this new ownership group to be able to take over. So no, it is not it's not that kind of like, I forget what the term for it is, but the way like the Guardians are going through like a period of time where they're kind of like passing the torch. Nope. Rubenstein's gonna be the control person as soon as the deal is finalized by Major League Baseball and its owners. And that is very good news for Orioles fans. And I think we've already seen it kind of start to play out here. Do you think the Corbin Burnes deal had anything to do with that?
I think it was in the works, but Michael Elias was not willing to pull the trigger unless he knew that there was going to be any sort of guarantee or promise of, okay, so I'm not going to trade any of my assets until I know that we can continue and try and build around this core. Because literally, when this trade went down, I remember thinking, the Orioles are not going to feel this at all.
Yeah.
They are not going to miss Joey Ortiz and Dale Hall in the least bit. And that is bananas when you think about it, because they are probably top prospects in over 2/3 of the league right now.
Yeah. I mean,
And
Joey
in the Orioles system, they're like, meh, you're blocked.
Yeah, Joey Ortiz is probably gonna be the starting shortstop for the Milwaukee Brewers because now they're, putting Willy Adames out there in the last year of his contract. And yeah, absolutely. They're guys who are gonna probably have roster spots on other teams. So yeah, let's start with that. Obviously, the Brewers traded right-handed pitcher and dominant ace Corbin Burnes to the Orioles. The Brewers acquired infielder Joey Ortiz and left-handed pitcher DL Hall, and they also get the 2024 34th round draft pick. So that's an interesting part of the deal too that will obviously play out over time. But if you don't know about Corbin Burnes, he is a 2021 Cy Young Award winner, and he has had a 2.86 ERA over the last 4 years with a 31% strikeout rate. So definitely not a flash in the pan. He has been one of the most dominant starting pitchers over the last 4 or 5 years in Major League Baseball, hands down. And to your point, Joey Ortiz and DL Hall aren't anything to, gawk at, but they're Major League Baseball players. They're going to be Major League Baseball players. Joey Ortiz played in 15 games at the major league level in 23. He went 7 for 33 with a double and 4 RBIs, but he batted .321, .378 with a .507 slug in 88 AAA games. So he is someone who is a stellar defender. He does have some offensive potential. He's not a slugger, but he's a shortstop. Totally fine. He does hit the ball hard. And this is where you're like, okay, well, yeah, it makes sense. Willy Adames, last year of his contract, the Brewers have clearly taken a step back and said 2024 is probably not our year. So this might be an opportunity for him. And then you've got Hall, who's 25. He's appeared at 29 games with 1 start over the last 2 seasons, 4.36 ERA and a 3.82 strikeout to walk ratio. CBS Sports has reported that this has been kind of the book on him for some time now, that he has starter quality stuff and reliever quality command. So that's interesting. But you never know what a guy like that put into a different system. And he's still young,
He is still young, yep. And I think working with some of those pitching coaches up in Milwaukee, I think they're gonna figure that out. And if you really think about it, they were not going to re-sign Corbin Burnes. And so if they gave him the qualifying offer, which obviously he was going to turn down, then they would just get a draft pick back. And now this way, they know they're really not going to contend. Kind of, maybe not really. So they get back 2 amazing-ish players, and their compensatory pick is going to be right around where they would have picked anyways. So it's like they got a BOGO kind of.
Yeah, totally.
I wouldn't get one.
2 birds with 1 stone. That's that's a good way to look at it. And I'm sure that's exactly the way that they looked at it. I think my first reaction to this when you texted me about it was because Suzy broke the news to me, and I my initial reaction was like, man, Cardinals are gonna fuck around with mediocrity again and still, win the Central Division exactly the way that they planned it. So in a weird way, I'm like sad because I am so sick of nobody leveling up in the Central Division to the point where it's just like, well, all you gotta do is get in, and all you gotta do is be mediocre. And I'm so over it at this point as a fan of the NL Central. But I do think it works out well for both teams. It makes sense for both teams, even if obviously the Orioles get the much bigger upside from it.
Right. Well, you only got to win what, 52%, 54%? What was Jerry Depoto's quote?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, speaking of the Mariners made another move, and they traded with the Twins. So the Mariners gave up right-handed pitcher Justin Topa, right-handed pitcher Anthony DeSclafani, and a minor leaguer, another right-handed pitcher, Darren Bowen, to the Twins for Jorge Polanco. Like, okay, sure. Oh, excuse me. And some cash, $8 million, and a minor leaguer. That seems a lot for Jorge Polanco.
It
I'm
does.
like,
It does. And it's not just any minor leaguer. Like Gabriel Gonzalez is rated number 5 in the Mariners system. So he's going to be an everyday power hitter, but he's only 20 years old. So yeah, it does. It seems like a load, but when your goal is not just to, set your roster, it's also to save money. That's what the Twins are doing.
like, oh, all right. Jorge Polanco? Wait, what? So I don't know. I was a little shocked. So Jorge Polanco has been a Twin since 2014, and he has been around so long that he actually played with now Hall of Famer Joe Mauer. Polanco is consistently an above average hitter, however, a below average defender. He is owed $10.5 million in 2024 with a $12 million club option in 2025. Anthony DeSclafani, you may remember him from the Giants, who made a couple of moves. He is another moving piece who just joined the Mariners from the Giants in the Robbie Ray trade. And he threw 99 and 2/3 innings with a 4.88 ERA in 2023. He is owed $12 million in 24 in the final year of his deal, and the Mariners will send cash to make the deal salary neutral. Justin Topa is a 32-year-old and pitched 69 innings, with a 2.61 ERA for the Mariners last season. And he looks to be a key piece for the Twins bullpen. Twins bullpen is going to be sneaky good.
Yeah.
Like really sneaky good.
I guess that's their plan. I mean, whatever.
We're gonna dive into all of the teams when some more moves get made. Guys, we're still waiting on fucking Jordan Montgomery and Cody Bellinger and fucking Blake Snell. We're still waiting on some big moves. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get into all of the teams and all of the breakdowns once, I guess, spring training hits. Who the fuck knows? Anyhow,
it is
Gabriel Gonzalez
for Twins fans though, because they don't have a lot of players like Polanco who are around for that amount of time. So I am sorry, Twins fans, if you're feeling like, that one constant piece of your franchise was ripped from you.
Yeah.
Because that I think is like the biggest notable thing in this deal to me.
But they can still stare at Max Kepler, and that's okay then. So it's all right. Yeah, just stare at Max Kepler. You'll be all right. Gabriel Gonzalez was rated a number 5 prospect in the Mariners system, and he expected to be an everyday power hitting outfielder. He's 20 years old and hits 298, 361, 476 with 18 home runs. At 2 of the single A levels in 2023. So got back a haul for, a second baseman that the Twins didn't want to pay. Right. And really and truly, the Mariners fans, cover your ears. I don't want to talk. I don't want to give you guys compliments. So the Mariners bullpen is just freaking filthy as it is anyways, and they're not going to miss Justin Topa's arm. Like they've that's Mariners. I don't actually like you. But
Another one
they're
that
not
just
going to
works out for the intent of both teams. But that's why it's interesting to kind of talk about it and point out those things, because there's so many different reasons why a trade makes sense for teams. And so you look at things on the surface level and you're like, well, yeah, why? That seems like a joke. But
right.
depends on what your goal is.
Yeah. So, but speaking of the Twins, though, Carlos Santana, Big Bopper, signs with the Twins for 1 year, $5.25 million. Will be first base DH, and he turned 38 in April. Played for the Pirates and Brewers last season. Batted 240 with 23 home runs, 86 RBIs, and in 146 games. So,
And
it'll
he
be
was
interesting to see there.
Yeah, he was a Guardian for I think the first 10 years of his major league career. So now that he's back in the division with a division rival,
Yeah.
I wonder how the Guardians fans are feeling about that.
Do Guardian fans have feelings? I don't know. Like I feel like they shouldn't, because they just know. They're like, we don't home runs, what are those? We don't need those. We just need guys that get on base and run.
I am
I don't
doing
know.
my Guardians team feature in a couple of weeks, so I'm learning all about the Guardians right now. And I mean, I've talked with some Guardians fans recently, so I think they do have feelings, which is maybe why I'm thinking about it. But you're right. They might be better off if they didn't.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Guardians fans, if you're out there. So, Justin Turner, though, gets the support of an entire country now. Entire country.
Is there anyone who's more of a Blue Jay than Justin Turner, the Red Dream? 1 year, $13 million. It includes up to 1.5 million in performance bonuses. And man, it sounds like the Red Sox just like weren't going to bring him back, which I guess I would have said previously, like, is there someone who's more of a Boston Red Sox than Justin Turner? It seems like a good fit there, but we all at this point have absolutely no fucking clue what the Red Sox are doing, but Justin Turner is not full throttle enough for them.
No. I think they thought that full throttle meant something else. I think that's what happened with the Red Sox. Like, I don't know.
Full throttle.
Yeah. I feel bad though, because Justin Turner, like, he spent all off season working out there, and I mean they moved there. Him and Courtney like moved there. They loved it. They embraced Boston. Boston embraced them. Like, I didn't know how he was going to move on from being a Dodger, really and truly.
Yeah.
And in a year, I was like, wait, Justin Turner was a Dodger? Like, it felt like Justin Turner was a Boston Red Sox for years.
For sure.
The way that he embraced Boston. And I don't know what the Red Sox are going to do for quote unquote veteran leadership. I mean, I guess Trevor Story, step on the fuck up. Like, I don't know. What are you doing over there? But I don't know. I don't know. And speaking of quote unquote veteran leadership, I can't even like read this with a straight face, because what is happening? Like, Giants, all the Giants pitchers are like, you know what, we just love the Bay Area so much, and the Giants aren't going to resign us, so we're just going to hop on over to the other baseball team here.
It is weird. A rare trade was made between, the two Bay teams, the two Bay Area teams. But Ross Stripling, what a guy. Maybe he's another one that maybe he'll get a chance to start regularly with the A's. I don't know. But he was traded, from the Giants to the A's for cash and minor league outfield Jonah Cox. He's 34. He's actually older than I thought he was, but he's coming into year 2 of his 2-year, $25 million deal that he signed with the Giants a couple seasons ago, and the Giants are actually going to pay $3.25 million of his remaining salary, so the A's will pay the remaining $9.25 million. He was used as a swingman, as a lot of people were, or maybe kind of were not sure what they were being used for with the Giants last season. Yeah. So he had a 7.24 ERA in his first 32 and a third innings last season. Then he went on the injured list with a back strain for 6 weeks. He came back a little more consistent with his remaining 56 and 2/3 innings. He had a 4.29 ERA. pedestrian 18.7% strikeout rate, and hello, a 2.6% walk rate, which, if that's not a statistic that you follow closely, that's pretty damn good. So it looks like he settled in a little bit. And he's just one of those guys that I think in any bullpen is like a steady Eddie. From 2016 to 2022, he had a 3.78 ERA over 672 innings with the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. So he is somebody who you can count on to take the ball when you need him. Do you think he's going to start for the A's?
I absolutely think he's going to start for the A's.
I mean, he has to, right? He's a slot right in there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like Alex Wood and Ross Stripling and who is the big guy? I'm missing names here, but I'm sorry, A's fans, if you're out there listening to this, that I don't have your starting rotation.
Yeah, I don't have them off the top of my head, but
it's former Giants that are going to be there. So we'll see. We shall see how that works out. But maybe knowing the role and knowing that he's going to take the ball every fifth day will help Ross Stripling.
Totally.
We shall see. We shall see. Yeah. So Phil Maton, Astros fans will be very aware of Phil Maton and his killer-esque expressions. He's known for not giving any sort of expression. Signs with the Rays. There's no contract details yet, but in 68 appearances, he had a 3.00 ERA, 74 to 25 strikeout to walk rate. Astros fans, we all know him because he was our mid-leverage guy. He had a filthy curveball. And I can't wait until the Rays pitching lab gets a hold of him and tweaks that curveball.
Right.
And he is going to be traded at the deadline. So mark my words, you will not see Phil Maton with the Rays after the trade deadline. He's going to be traded to a contender.
Especially assuming that they got him on a player-friendly deal, which I'm sure they did.
Yep.
So we will report more on that when it comes out. But we've got Keenan Middleton, who signed with the Cardinals, which was somewhat unexpected for Cardinals fans. I think we had given up the guarantee of anything else happening. He is 30 years old. He signed a 1-year, $6 million deal with a club option for 25, which seems to be what the Cardinals are handing out this offseason. He split time last season with the White Sox and the Yankees. He was 2-2 over 51 appearances, posted a 3.38 ERA, but he is the thing that I love, that I need, that all Cardinals fans need, that Keenan Middleton has, and that is that 11.4 strikeouts per 9 innings last year. Give me that swing and miss, baby. I'm not going to even know what it is when I see it as a Cardinals fan. So I'll take it.
Yeah. So a couple more relievers go to the Mets. Look at you, Mets, making some moves. Jake Diekman and Shitaro Fujinami signed with the Mets. Fujinami for $3.35 million, plus up to $850,000 in incentives. Throws high heat, but unfortunately struggles with command. You may remember him that the A's signed him as a starter last season before, going to the
I did not realize that.
Yeah, they moved him to the bullpen real fucking quick.
He did make 7 starts last season. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 7.18 ERA and 64 appearances with the A's. His FIP at 4.61 suggests he was one of the unluckiest pitchers in MLB during this time.
Isn't that crazy? That's what I like about fielding independent pitching stat, is because it kind of shows like, okay, but how much of your ERA really had to do with you, the pitcher?
Okay, but unluckiest pitcher or the A's infield being back there? I don't know.
Yeah, but again, that's not his fault. So
yeah. We'll see. We'll see how he does. We shall see how he does. He was moved to the Orioles at the deadline. What got that ERA down to 4.85 with 32 Ks and 15 walks over 29 and 2/3 innings in Baltimore. Jake Diekman gets 1 year, around $4 million with a vesting option for 2025. And the Rays did fix him last season. Jake Diekman was DFA'd from, I believe, was the Red Sox, and the Rays picked him up, or maybe they traded him. I don't remember, but I think the Red Sox did something to him and was like, JK, we don't want you, Jake Diekman. And then the Rays turned around and was like, we'll take him. We'll fix him. Come on over. So He will be predominantly used to shut down left-handed hitters. So I'm excited for that.
We've got some Yankees musical chairs going on as well. Wandy Peralta signed with the Padres for 4 years, $16.5 million. And he is he is one of the most steady relievers in the game as of late. From 21 to 23, he threw 153 innings with a 2.82 ERA, 21% strikeout rate, 10.2% walk rate, and 56.5% ground ball rate. You're not going to get a lot of hard contact off of Wandy Peralta, and that's something you love to see in any pitcher, but especially your middle or late relief guy. He did struggle with command at times in 23, but not enough to obviously skew his numbers too much. And I mean, good for him getting 4 years. I think he's 32 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of surprised to see that he got a longer deal, but the Yankees are going to miss him. So they actually, right before we recorded, they just finalized a trade acquiring left-handed pitcher Caleb Ferguson from the Dodgers in exchange for left-handed pitcher Matt Gage and right-handed pitcher Christian Zazueta. That's the cool last
I think
name.
so. Yeah. Yeah. Side note, are the Padres the Yankees of the West? They just literally just picked up all of the Yankees, from that Juan Soto trade. There's a bunch of Yankee pitchers over there now. So maybe Wandy Peralta will be at home. We'll feel at home.
Yeah, they
hanging
are
out with Michael
trying to be like the beach town Yankees, if that makes sense. They give me Yankees vibes. I mean, they signed all these stars. Now they're kind of dealing with the ramifications and trying to be more strategic. I don't hate it.
Yeah, I hate it. So anyhow, sorry. That was just I was like, wait, Wandy Peralta going from the Yankees to the Padres.
There's lots of you over there to see him, on the Padres. But I guess the other big thing that also happened today is that the Kansas City Royals signed their shortstop, Bobby Witt Jr., to a big old extension for 11 years at $288.7 million. Were you expecting that?
Kind of. Not really, though, but kind of. I want to say that I read an article a couple months ago saying that Kansas City's trying to get a new stadium built as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh, if you're trying to get a new stadium built, you're going to try and lock up your young talent. And who better to do that than Bobby Witt Jr.? And so he, as we mentioned earlier in the episode, is the second fastest guy in the league.
He's fast.
So yeah, but that it's a big old contract. If you're gonna give him and $288.7 million, what are we doing?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I guess I was more surprised on his end that he agreed to it, but it is potentially worth up to $377.7 million over 14 years. He gets 4 player opt-outs after years 7, 8, 9, and 10, which are late, but he's still going to be under 30. So he also gets a $7.7 million signing bonus. I guess that's where that 0.7 comes from.
Is 7 a lucky number for him? Royals fans, are you out there? Are you listening? Is 7 his number? What's going on here with the 7s? I feel like maybe that's a thing. I don't know. But yeah, good for him. The Salvi contract is going to be expiring here shortly. So, some of that money is going to get off the books, and then maybe they can sign some younger players around him. Although the Royals have had a sneaky good offseason. They picked up some pitchers. So Cole Reagans won't be the only awesome pitcher on that staff. I don't know. Zach Greinke, what are you doing? Are you going to hang out in Kauffman Stadium? Who knows?
New young guys, come on.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to mentor them because you're Zach Greinke. I don't know. But we shall see. We shall see.
Well, we made it. We made it through most of the good heat. We did it.
Yeah. Lots of heat, guys. With that, we're going to wrap up. So we've got another fun little guest coming up. So that's why we got to skedaddle on out of here. But before we do, if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Tell all of your friends to hit the subscribe button. Like I said earlier in the episode as well, Spain, Korea, and Japan, we're still hanging tough on those Apple podcast charts. USA, I need you to get on board those because that would be delightful. So please give us a 5-star rating. Leave us a kindly worded review. I would love that. Kelsey would also love that.
Kind words only.
Yeah. And Apple, Spotify, if you're not using your phone and just want to bump up our listens, that would also be great. Just have it on in the background and just mute it. Like that's fine too. Okay.
Totally fine.
I'm just saying. All right. And with that, we will end the podcast. We'll end this episode. Yay, baseball. Hit end record.